Old memories die hard. 25 years later, Ian Vaughan was determined to get the XT GT to first place. In Scrub near Canberra, the original GT was taken for a bit of a spin to blow out the cobwebs.
Well, in 1993, the organisers decided they would run a 25-year anniversary of the event, so it was 25 years after 1968. What we had then was not 25-year-old drivers, but 50-year-old drivers, but we took the same car that we'd taken in 1968. You had to take a 25-year-old car. They were the rules of the event. So we had a race across the world, really, for 25-year-old cars, which was a little different. Well, there was a big difference. For instance, in the first rally, we'd been through Yugoslavia. We couldn't go through that now. We had to come down through Eastern Europe, through Czechoslovakia and into Turkey that way. In the first event, we'd gone through Iran and Afghanistan. This time we couldn't go through that, so they put us all in an Antonov and flew us over. Flew us right over Afghanistan into India, and we continued on down through India. So I guess the political change was a little different there. The other thing that was really different about the second event was it was an out-and-out speed event. In 25 years, rallying had become a much faster sport, and we had to drive this car probably 25% faster than we'd had to drive it in the first place. So a real speed event, closed roads, or so-called closed roads in India, which is almost impossible, but time to 100th of a second and a much more competitive event. We're up against, again, the Porsches. They were 25-year-old Porsches, but pretty competitive, and there was one Porsche that pipped us at the finish. But we managed to get in second, which was a nice improvement on third 25 years ago. Well, London to Sydney's a long way. The next event that's scheduled is another 25-year anniversary in the year 2018. I think I'll be 76 then, and I may be just a little bit past it, but I'm sure the car will be ready to go again. It's certainly only just run in.
The XT GT proved itself worthy of the GT legend. To many experts, the XT was the best GT ever produced. Coming up, the master of Mount Panorama and the car that never was.
Ford, let it lead the way. Come and break away.
1969 was the year of the Subaru.
New Falcon is here. The all-excitement happening at your Ford dealers. Oh, new Falcon!
The new XW GT was powered by a 351 cubic inch Windsor V8, which delivered an additional 60 horsepower.
In the heart of the
But with the XW GT came something else. Something that was going to change the face of motor racing forever.
Well, the HO was first of all a legend. What you have to understand, it was better than the standard XW because it was the car that they honed to go to Bathurst. And of course, it had to go around corners better than the standard GT because it was going to be driven by probably the most famous Falcon racer of all, Alan Moffat.
Canadian-born, Moffat had raced in the States in the 60s before being coaxed to join Ford Racing by its then motorsport manager, the big American Al Turner. Together, Moffat and Turner were the fathers of the GTHO.
My first involvement with a GTHO was fortunately to have been asked to drive one. But before we could drive one, we had to have one. And Al Turner, who had been brought out from America to supervise the program, asked me would I be in a position to build the prototype. And this sounds dramatic, but it wasn't all that hard for us because the shape of the car was still going to remain the same. So my two young fellows, Peter Thorne and Barry Nelson, just installed the engine, installed the gearbox, some special brakes on the back, and handmade the spoilers. So it was all quite a nice little package and looked very nifty for Al Turner to present to Ford management. He wanted a living, breathing, fire-eating machine that he could show to Bill Burke, who was the managing director at the time, into the car and give him a bit of a flamethrower ride up the Hume Highway. The program would be approved, and his rationale worked.
Moffat was soon at Bathurst, and he has vivid memories of the first time he saw the track.
We stopped on the top across Skyline, and in those days, no walls, barbed wire fences was the limit. And I said, look at the view. Isn't this fantastic? It's a fabulous sight, and it's terrific. And I've walked over to the edge of the circuit and looked out over the valley and seen Bathurst town and the ongoing hills and thought, this is really very nice. And then turned around and said to them, well, aren't we a bit pressed for time? When are we going to get to the circuit? Let's get moving. And they said, you're on the circuit. I took one more glance over that valley, and that was the last time I ever looked left in my life along that shelf.
Moffat's main aim when he arrived in Australia was to conquer Mount Panorama.
My recollections of 1969 at Bathurst was, in hindsight, a pity that I didn't win it, because I felt I could have won it. I didn't actually know how to win it, and you may think that's a strange comment, but until you achieve a victory, you don't really know what you have to take out of yourself. You don't know what you have to do with the vehicle to get it to do over 160 laps at Bathurst.